Hello, folks. Look at the coloring there. There we go. All right. So, as you can see behind me, welcome back. It's a little crazy in here. Just got back from one homeschool convention and I'm packing up to go to another one. So, I'm going to be in Texas next week at the Texas Homeschool Expo convention right outside of San Antonio. So, if you're in Texas or close to Texas, come on by. Come to the expo, come see me at my booth, come to my sessions. I'm going to be doing homeschooling, high school, game schooling, and are you doing enough? I'm going to be answering that question for you. So, anyway, welcome back. It's been a hot minute since I've done a live. If you are watching this after we went live because the timing's just not right, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way, you are notified when I do go live. My goal is to do my lives, get back on doing lives on a weekly basis on Wednesdays. So I've narrowed it down to Wednesdays. I'm going to be going live, doing a live Q&A, answering your questions, getting on my soapbox about different homeschooling things. But I still don't have a definite time for each Wednesday. It kind of depends on LA traffic and it depends on the quietness of the house, which determines what time I go live. So, again, if you're not sure when I'm going to be going live or Wednesday afternoons are not good for you, or you're all the way on the East Coast and it's time for bed, just hit subscribe. That way you're notified when I go live. All right. So, those of you who are joining us, feel free to just type in your questions in the comments and I will do my best to answer those questions. But while I wait for more of you to come on and to put in some of those questions, I wanted to share with you some of the questions that I got a whole bunch last week. So last week I was at, 2 weeks, I was in Missouri. So I was at the Bloom and Blossom retreat the last week of February, which was absolutely wonderful. Absolutely love that group of ladies. And then the following weekend, I was speaking at the Midwest Homeschool Conference, which is also in Missouri. So when I was at that conference, I got so many questions, but a few of them really stuck out that I wanted to talk with you guys about today. It warms my heart. I absolutely love when I'm in the convention or the exhibit hall and I see these young couples walk by, they're pregnant or they're strolling their 2-year-old, 3-year-old in the stroller and they come by my booth and I say, hey, how long have you been homeschooling? And their answer is, we haven't started yet. We're going to homeschool when we only have one, I'm pregnant with one, or this one's only 2 or 3, but we know we want to homeschool and that's why we're here. I love that when I see so many young couples coming through who have already made the decision this is what they're going to do, but they're starting out early to figure out what is this homeschooling thing and how do you do it? I also absolutely love, now that I'm a little older, I get to meet so many second generational homeschoolers. So I'm at my booth, and it's so amazing how many families come by, and I'll say, hey, how long have you guys been homeschooling? And one of the parents will usually say, I was homeschooled or my husband was homeschooled, and that's why we chose to do this. Y'all, it's a beautiful thing. It's full circle. I just love it. Okay. Sorry about the lighting. I know it's kind of weird today. I thought I had a little bit more lighting than I did, but I don't. Anyway, you don't get to see all the gray hair today, just some of it. All right. So, some of the things that kept coming up with these lovely young couples. The first question that I get a lot is, what about preschool? I'm walking around and I don't know what kind of curriculum to use for my preschooler or when we start to homeschool and and my kid is 3 years old or 4 years old. Okay, so my first little soapbox I'm going to get on. First of all, y'all, just play. The best way to teach anything and to learn and to homeschool, especially those younger years when they're 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, is to just play. Keep doing what you're doing. So, what I tell the moms and the dads all the time is, look, you're already doing a wonderful job. You've already taught them how to talk, how to walk, how to potty train, how to love, how to communicate. You've already taught them some of the most important lessons ever. And you did all that without a curriculum, without a class. So, what makes you think you have to have curriculum for the preschool years and the kindergarten years and first grade and I dare even say second grade? You're already doing a great job. So, what I tell the moms is that you're just going to keep doing what you're doing. So when you officially start your home education, you're just going to be more intentional as you do the things you're already doing. So I know you're already reading aloud to your kids, whether it's at bedtime or it's during bath time or it's during snack time or you're going to story time at the library. I know you're already reading to your kids. Um, just keep doing it. It's just when they're preschool, kindergarten, first grade, you're just going to be more intentional about it. So every day, you're just going to be more intentional about saying, you know what, we haven't read yet. Or during our read aloud this week, I think I want to read some picture books about butterflies or about Easter or about whatever. You're just being a little bit more intentional, right? I know you're already counting. I'm pretty sure your preschooler already knows how to count, right? Okay. Probably already knows their shapes and their colors and all that kind of stuff. Um, so you're just going to keep doing what you're already doing, except you might be a little bit more intentional each day. So one day you might say, you know what, today I think I want to make sure we spend about 10 minutes playing a fun math game or reading a math picture book or being more intentional when we're cooking our lunch and she's helping me with the recipes and the measuring, that I'm just more intentional about pointing out the fractions and the counting and all of that kind of stuff. So you're just going to be more intentional. Maybe you go and get like a fun, colorful little math kind of workbooky thing from Costco or Office Supply, or one that is princess themed or one that's cowboy themed where they're, writing their numbers or whatever, but it's super fun and it's super colorful and it's not this eyesore, eye draining, black and white, um, rather dry math textbook. You don't need that when they're in preschool, kindergarten, first grade, dare I say second grade, and third, maybe. Um, if they want something like that because they want to do school, then get something fun and colorful and use that. And then just be intentional and say, you know what, today we're going to do like 10 minutes from this cute little workbook. Okay. That's it, right? If your kid is showing signs that they want to learn to read, great. So you're just going to keep doing what you're already doing because they're interested in learning. They probably already know their letters. Maybe they already know their sounds, right? You're just going to say, hey, today I think maybe for 10 or 15 minutes, we might play a fun little phonics game, or we might listen to some really fun jingles to help her remember, some of the different sounds or whatever that goes with it. Or you might find again a cute, colorful little workbook. Get the Bob books from the library, and you're just being intentional for an extra 10 minutes that day, where you're reading from the Bob book and you're kind of showing, oh, well, this you blend it this way and you said, do you want to try it? Really, mamas, you're already doing the work. You're already really good at it. You're already the best teacher they have. You've proved it, right? I already told you. You already taught them the most important stuff. So you don't have to buy and you don't have to use formal curriculum during these early years. You don't even have to do formal schoolwork at all. Okay. You're just going to be a little bit more intentional. The key here is allow them to play way more than any kind of formal sit down schoolworky kinds of stuff, because research tells us, and you know this in your gut, kids learn best through play. They learn better when they're playing. So make sure you give them time for free play, unstructured play, imaginative play, play games that have numbers in it, play games that have words and and letters in it, and play science games and thinking games and strategy games, and just continue to make learning fun. What you don't want to do is start all the formal work too early when they don't really need it, and that's not how they learn. And then in the process, what you wind up doing is squelching and squishing their curiosity. So then when you do sit down in third or fourth grade to really start doing the formal schoolwork, right? They don't want to learn anymore. Because we've squashed their curiosity with, no, we have to sit down and do this reading workbook, we have to do this spelling workbook, we have to do this math workbook. That's not what preschool and kindergarten and first grade and second grade should look like. Okay. So don't feel guilty if your natural instinct is to continue to allow your kids to have a childhood that is full of beautiful things, beautiful music, beautiful artwork, opportunities to be creative, lots of opportunities to play, lots of natural opportunities to count and to add, natural opportunities to learn to read or at least be read to, right? Do fun things with their writing with chalk and finger painting. You don't have to teach them formal manuscript or cursive when they're in preschool or kindergarten or first grade even. Okay, you could do it very slow and naturally. So I'm going to get off of that one soapbox right there, but that did come up a lot, right? Another question that I get, not just from the super young or new homeschooling families, but from all the families. I always ask the question when they come to my booth, hey, so what's your goal here? So what's your mission? Because usually we're on a mission when we go to conventions. What are you looking for this year? What's the one thing that you want to make sure you concentrate on this year? Or what's that one thing your students having problems with? Because that's why they're at the convention. They're looking for something to fill in whatever those gaps are, right? And they usually will say they're looking for a particular curriculum, but they don't know which one to go and get. Now, y'all, I'm not bad mouthing curriculum. I'm really not, okay? But what I'm saying is that shouldn't be your first question. Which curriculum should I use? Really, the first question you should be asking is your why. So when the moms come to my booth and ask me, what should I use for this and what should I use for that? I usually turn it around and say, well, let me ask you a question. Why did you choose to homeschool in the first place? Why do you feel like God has called you home? Why do you want to home educate your kids? And I listen to their answer. And for the most part, the answer is not academics. Sometimes they'll say, well, I want to teach my kid how to read because they're asking. But for the most part, it's, I want to spend time with my kids. I want to have a great relationship with my kids. I want my kids to have good relationships with each other. I want to teach God's word. I want to teach them a biblical worldview. I want them to be kind and curious people. It's usually stuff like that. Or, I want them to have a childhood. I want them to have freedom. We want flexibility in what we learn and when we learn it. Y'all, that has nothing to do with the academics, right? So once you answer the question, why are you homeschooling in the first place? Your answer to that question will then help you figure out what kind of curriculum you should use for math and what kind of classes your middle schooler should take and things like that, because it's going to align with the reason why you wanted to homeschool in the first place. Okay, let me see if I can get that off there. There we go. Okay, so anyway, now the other question or the other thing that just really came up a lot at the convention I was just at, and actually I've been doing a lot of coaching. It's March, right? And so February and March, I do a lot of one-on-one coaching with homeschool moms. And because February is tough, everybody's always second guessing what they're doing, and they're trying to decide, should we keep homeschooling because it's not going the way we thought? And then March, I do a lot of coaching one-on-one, online or in person, because people are starting to look forward to next year. So they're starting to figure out what their schedules are going to be, what curriculum they're going to use and stuff like that, right? So Oftentimes, I have been meeting with a lot of moms recently that, they tell me, we just don't have enough time to get through all the things that we need to get through. And my kids just aren't enjoying learning. And I just feel like we're just going from one thing to the next. And this just isn't what I thought it was going to be, the homeschooling thing. And so naturally, I asked them, well, tell me about your day. What does your day look like? What does your week look like? Oftentimes, I have been hearing an awful lot. Again, I'm not um, uh, putting down hybrid schools and co-ops and things. I'm not. I think those things have a place and they're wonderful. Um, However, I am hearing a lot of families who are coming right out of the traditional setting, and because they're not quite confident yet in their ability to teach their own kids, and more times than not, they were taught in a traditional setting, so that's what they're used to, so they don't really know what else to do, right? And it just feels more comfortable to go from a traditional classroom where they're in there 5 days a week for 7 hours into a hybrid school where they're doing classes 2 days a week, where another person is teaching their kids. They're there all day, and then they come home, and then the other 3 days a week, they're doing the homework for the classes they're taking at the hybrid. Like I said, I have nothing wrong with that. I have no qualms with that. There are seasons for that. There are sometimes a kid needs that because maybe they're an only child and they really do enjoy uh, being in a classroom setting with other kids twice a week. Okay. Maybe the mom and the dad work full time or part time and they need a program, right? Where the kid is somewhere at least 2 days a week so that they could go to work or do their work at home. All of that is totally valid, right? All of that. Or, like I said, their confidence level just isn't there yet, and they really don't know where to begin. They don't know, well, what do I use for math? How do I teach writing? I don't know. I'm not good at that, or I didn't pay attention in school. How am I supposed to teach my kid that? Where do I start? Right. And so they just feel more comfortable putting them in a hybrid program where someone else is doing the teaching and then they do what they're used to. They just help them with their homework. All right. It works for some families. However, if your why did you choose to homeschool in the first place, is because you want to spend more time with your kids, because you want to um, have more freedom and flexibility in what they learn and how they learn and when they learn, right? If your why was because you want to learn all together as a family, you want to redeem your own education by learning alongside your kids, that um, you want your kids, like I said, to have more freedom so that they have a childhood, right? Um, if the public school or traditional school setting and schedule was too limiting for you, and you were only getting your kid at their worst instead of their best, which was what you got when you were doing homework, right? When you put them in a hybrid program, a hybrid homeschool program like that, you're pretty much putting yourself in the same situation, except they're spending less time in the classroom, right? And more time with you. But the time they're spending with you, you're not driving the horse. You're not picking the curriculum. You're not picking what they're learning. You're not even teaching them really. So when they come to you with the homework, um, you just have to help them complete it in the way that their hybrid teacher wants them to complete it, right? And then you're on someone else's time schedule as well. So let's just say they're taking an IEW class at the hybrid homeschool program they're in, and they have to have, their paragraph or their 5 paragraph essay ready by next week, and they have to have all of these components. Um, you don't have the freedom and flexibility to make it easier or harder, to maybe work at their own pace. So maybe, they can get it all done, but they need that extra day or two, maybe because people were sick in the family, or maybe because they were dentist appointments, or maybe because you were on a trip, right? Or maybe just because they need the extra time because baby was up all night, all week, and no one got any rest, right? When you're in the hybrid homeschool program like that, you just don't have the flexibility and the freedom to say, you know what, honey, let's not worry about that today. We can finish it up next week. Or you can't because you have to hand it in when it's due. Okay. So that's what I mean by you're still allowing someone else to dictate your schedule and your time and what's being taught and when it's being taught and how it's being taught. And if that's the season you're in and that's what you need right now, more power to you. Okay. But if it's March and you and your kids are getting really cranky about gotta go to the class, or I gotta do this homework, or there's never any time to do the other things you wanted to do in your homeschooling together as a family because everybody's off independently doing their own thing because they're trying to finish up their homework for the hybrid homeschool program they're in. If you're feeling that tension and your kids are feeling that tension and no one is having fun and no one's enjoying it and learning is becoming very laborious, that's when you need to sit back and ask yourself, does this align with my why? It fit with the season we were in before, where I needed the help, I needed the confidence, I needed someone to direct me. But now it's not quite fitting and it's not meeting our needs, or maybe it's not meeting the needs of one particular child, right? It's okay. It really is okay to home educate without a hybrid program. Trust yourself, trust your abilities. Know that the Lord picked you to be your child's parent and to be your child's primary teacher, whether you home educate or not. All right. That's your job. And you can do it because the Lord knows that you can. He picked you for the job. Okay. And the same thing with co-ops and outside classes and online classes. I can't tell you how many times I have coached um, parents of high schoolers, and they're more frustrated with the fact that their teenager is on the computer almost all day long in their room doing stuff on their own because the parent wasn't confident enough in the high school years and their ability to guide or to teach their kid some of the subjects that come up in high school. And so they put them in some sort of online program, outside classes that are online. And so what happens is the teen is on this someone else's time schedule again. Assignments are due at specific times. They have to get online at specific times. That might be when you guys are doing morning time or family Bible time and your teen can never come, or they can never come to lunch with you, or they can never come to park day with you because they've got all of these courses they have to take and things they have to do for their online courses. Again, if it fits your teen's learning style, their needs, their goals for post graduation, keep doing it. But if it's not fitting your needs, if it's not meeting your why your student wanted to homeschool the high school years in the first place, and it's not helping your teen reach their post graduation goals, it's just busy work or work that you just feel like, well, they have to do it because they're in high school, right? Aren't they supposed to do it this way? The answer is no, right? So if it's not meeting those needs, it really is okay to not outsource every single subject for your middle schooler, for your high schooler, right? So the things you're not comfortable with, outsource that. Go for it. Teach your kid how to teach themselves. You'll be amazed at how much they can learn on their own when they're motivated to learn things. Get a tutor, put them in an outside co op class for that particular subject, right? But you don't have to outsource everything. You really don't. It gets expensive. And then what happens is you wind up doing school in the car. You're doing school at home because now you're still not teaching your kid, your teen. You're bringing them and driving them every day to different classes and different things because you don't trust um, yourself to actually teach your kids what you want them to learn or what you think or they need to learn, right? Okay. So, anyway, time is almost up. I went off on my soapbox. Like I said, I am not against hybrids. I'm not against co ops. I'm not against online classes. I'm not against preschool homeschooling. I'm just saying it really depends on your season of life, the reasons why you're doing it, and remember your why. That should dictate what you're doing and never be afraid to change. One thing might be great for now, but next year maybe it doesn't meet those needs. And it's okay to change co ops. It's okay to change curriculums. It's okay to completely change the way you homeschool if you feel led to do it that way because it'll be better for your kids. Okay. All right. So, thanks again for joining me. If you're watching this recorded because I went live when you weren't expecting it, or I went live when it was too late at night for you, just hit the subscribe button and that way you'll be notified the next time I go live. But my goal is to do it every Wednesday. So come next time with your questions. All right. Thanks, guys. See you later.